There is something horribly wrong with cold email advice on YouTube right now. You click on videos promising 48% response rates, only for them to show you zero proof that it's actually possible. Or they just spend the whole time talking about cold email openers. Well, I made $200,000 in the past 180 days alone from cold email, and I know what these cold email YouTube guys are doing behind closed doors, and it's not what they're telling you. Honestly, that. I'm just gonna show you in painfully deep detail from A to Z how to write a killer cold email without any of the trending hacks or wishy-washy results, since this is based off human psychology and actual human behavior. And it doesn't matter if your company's doing $100 a month or $1 million a month, or if it's an SMMA or a design company or a SaaS business, it doesn't matter. Even if you couldn't sell water in the desert, you could do this with this 7-minute video alone. How to write killer cold emails. Actually, pillar number 1, this step here literally landed my client a $100K deal. Number 1, laser focus targeting. This is how I've connected my clients with golden shark brands like Mazda, Hilton, Marriott, IHOP, and so on. Step number 1, define your hyper niched ICP. So for example, targeting B2B companies would be more specific than just targeting businesses, but targeting SaaS startups that just raised Series A and are struggling with outbound would be even more specific. I made a free template for you to do this in the description. Now, step number 2, take that hyper niched ICP and go build a list of at least 5 to 10K people that qualify within your ICP. To do this, you can use LinkedIn or industry data or Apollo. This is how. Go to Apollo. First of all, make sure that you know exactly what job titles you're targeting. Then choose the location, the employee size, then either target industries or keywords or include both. Make sure that your email status is verified. And if you want to target through revenue or technologies or funding or job postings, you can do that as well. Now, the next step is to find their $1 million bait. That means looking for problem-solving opportunities. So for example, my company Lead Overload solves an acquisition problem. So we look for hiring patterns or product launches or funding rounds. So for example, a SaaS company raises $5 million from a funding round, but they spend way too much money and time on training and hiring SDRs. So the niche bait saw you just raised $5 million. I bet hiring SDRs is a nightmare right now. Here's how you can find these opportunities. You make an offer that they would feel stupid saying no to. Step 1 is to offer a risk-free incentive. So for example, can I send you the exact script that got a similar company 82 meetings last month? Then once you've gained their trust, frame your offer as a no-brainer. For example, if I can book you 10 qualified sales calls this month, you keep them. If not, you do not pay. Also, bonus if you use fear of missing out. For example, your competitor is already doing this, should I send breakdown? Now that we have the killer target set, let's get on to taking good cold emails and puts them on steroids. Pillar number 2, write emails that they cannot ignore. The main point is to write like you have 2 feet and a heartbeat, so not like a robot. The first step is subject line. So for that, you would open a curiosity loop or use personalization or touch on their pain points. So for example, Jeff, a crazy idea that opens up a curiosity loop, crazy idea for Amazon. The next example could be saw Zapier doing this. What are your thoughts on this, Jason? Or subject line example number 3, Andrew, quick question about your lead flow. Now the lead flow would be the aim point. We tried this subject line for Danny's SMMA and she booked her first call with us within the first 24 hours. Now she's still closing almost 10K deals from cold email without spending a dime on outsourcing it to agencies. Now the next part is to write an opening line. We would use either shock or humor or ultra personalization. So for example, 80% of cold emails get ignored. Here's why this one will not. Or your last podcast episode was fire. One thing stood out to me, so that opens up a curiosity loop. Or hiring SDRs is a nightmare. I noticed that your company's scaling fast. I bet you feel that. And now the body of the emails. And there's just one rule that you need to follow. Keep it stupidly simple so it takes less than 5 seconds to scan. In line 1, you want to describe their pain point. In line 2, you want to offer a compelling solution. In line 3, you ask a soft and easy to answer call to action. As simple as that. So if we are writing a email to Mark Zuckerberg, for example, for Facebook, then you could say, saw TikTok doing this. What are your thoughts? Hey Mark, I saw TikTok is scaling fast. I bet hiring SDRs for Facebook is probably a pain. Most teams lose 70% 30% in 6 months. We found a way to cut that to 20%. Can I send you the breakdown? Reply with yes, and it is flying to your inbox. Super simple and very straightforward. Pillar number 3, super important, is tracking the performance. So that means A/B split testing like a freaking robot. For that, test subject line, curiosity versus direct pain point. For the first liners, test shock versus humor versus hyper personalization. And for the call to actions, you could test mind if I send you an example, or can I send you the case study? Or if you want to be fancy, then you could ask if they want to jump on a call with you. They probably will say no, but you can test it anyways. But most deals actually come from this next step, and this is the follow-ups. You want to send each follow-up 2 days after the previous ones, and never ever follow up with saying just checking in, or I noticed you didn't see my last message, or anything along those lines. Instead, say something new. For example, just found a case study on your competitor, thought you would find it interesting. Or, quick heads up, we just used this to help another company increase metric by 47%. And a huge piece that I didn't have time to include in this breakdown is how to set up your infrastructure. This allowed my client Mark to send volumes of these killer emails without being part of the 95% that get marked as spam. So if you're the type of person who needs to see this live in action, I broke down my client's entire in-depth cold email campaign in 23 minutes, including the infrastructure.